Chapter 16, Writing a Successful Connections Plan Recommendation. The only thing harder than creating your communications plan is selling your plan to your client. The key to a successful pitch is doing your homework. Look at multiple options, be prepared to answer objections, and believe in your ideas. There are basic elements that are part of any good plan, and this checklist will help ensure that you've not forgotten any aspect. From are you articulating the objectives? Has the business challenge been identified? What are the role of communications? Is it an integrated plan? Does it inspire? Your understanding of the business is what's going to inform your business challenge. In order to get the client's buy-in to how you have framed the challenge, you want to lay out the landscape as you see it. What the team did here was establish the fact that natural drinks was where societal trends are going, and that your client doesn't have a position in that marketplace right now. Therefore, the challenge is to make consumers not only aware that the drinks are available, but that they are a viable alternative to the places that they go now. While there were multiple different audiences based on the different types of drinks available, the teams identified some similarities across all three to arrive at a single target audience. If you have access to MRI or Simmons, these are great places to gain these insights. If not, you can do some primary research on your own. A major reason that combining the audiences made sense was that if they had attempted to target three distinct audiences, then they would have had to divide the budget into thirds. With a limited budget, it makes sense to combine all targets. You should also note that they used a combination of demographic and psychographic characteristics. While they define her as a woman, her attitudes about health and nutrition and towards life overall were important. They then went on to understand how she moves through the consumer decision journey, or her consumer pathway. Understanding that for her relaxation happens in small moments, and that both treating herself to a refreshing drink or a quick game of Candy Crush or a glance at Snapchat stories. You can presume that if you can remind her of your beverages in the midst of her break, she will be most receptive to your messages. Objectives against campaign and behavioral. Reach goals establish what the campaign will achieve. Social media goals are attitudinal goals to gain preferences as a pick-me-up option. And brand interactions are encouraging conversations as a behavioral goal that establish what the consumer should do. In the connections plan, you look at the issue that we face as a low awareness in the marketplace. You decide on your response and how you're going to communicate that. In this case, the team prioritized awareness, purchase consideration, and trial as the main points along the consumer decision journey to impact. Their message drivers were to communicate quality and taste. And finally, they wanted media that would allow them to capture customer data, message during specific times of the day, and create customized messaging. And finally, they knew they had to communicate when the target was out and about and close the point of purchase because it was more impulsive, low-involvement decision-making. The media that performed best against these strategies were highly experiential events like sampling, recommendations, and in-store activities. Moving into the awareness stage, television and search performed well, especially in mobile, and therefore the budget was allocated accordingly. The team integrated paid, owned, and earned under the creative strategy of Drink It In. With the challenge of consumers not thinking of Cindy's as a place for healthy drinks, the team stayed focused on understanding where this woman turns to for her health and wellness information. Magazines, search, and social media conversations are some of her favorite places. Regardless of where she chooses to interact for health information, Cindy wants to be there with fun ways for her to interact. Scent strips, gaming, because remember, we wanted to interact with her when she's relaxing. And finally, measurement will ensure that it is all a great success. The campaign, attitudinal, behavioral, and business goals are all clearly laid out. And as we wrap up, let's go back to the CDJ and remember that communications planning is about understanding the consumer, and not just who they are, what media they consume, or what they buy. It's about understanding what motivates them, what excites them, and what challenges do they face, whether they be big or small. As advertisers, we're problem solvers, and the best problem solvers start by understanding the need. Don't jump into the conversation with the consumer without knowing what it is they need. As a media professional, you'll have many tools at your disposal to help you on both sides. As a media student, this map provides a guide to help drive your decisions. Based on the CompsPoint tool, each step in the journey has been mapped to the most effective touch point. And as you've learned, different strategies and tactics will impact this map, but this provides you with a general guide. The green lights indicate those media which are best at impacting those points along the journey. The yellow lights are those that may or may not have an impact based on the details of your business objectives and challenges. And the red lights are those that will likely have the least impact. That doesn't mean that they can't have an impact, simply that they're probably the least likely choice. And remember, you can use this simply as a guide. Communications planning is the combination of art and science. For all of the science and research, we have to support our decisions, and ultimately the most effective plans are those that turn data into inspirational stories. Embrace both sides and you'll capture the attention of your consumer. Let me know if you have any questions.